here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 16 minutes after 8 o'clock. Joining me in studio this morning, Mr. Bill Williams, County Manager. How are you doing this morning?
I'm well. How are you, Sean?
Well is not a word I would use to describe myself, but I'm hanging in there. I'm like, you know that old poster, the cat hanging on the wire? Hang in there, baby.
Yeah.
That's me, except for the problem is the poster was printed in 1987.
And you've been hanging on.
I'm just saying, that cat has long since passed. I'm assuming. But we're getting into the busy season, obviously, for the county. People, gearing up for festival season. The Eastern Mexico State Fair is getting ready to get underway. It's a busy time around the city, a busy time for the county as well.
Yeah. We had a pretty laid back county commission meeting yesterday, though. But we're
always a good thing.
You never know what's going to hit the next month.
That's true.
It's always fun.
That is true. So let's talk about the meeting last night. How did things go?
Everything went real well.
Good.
We kind of didn't really do housekeeping, but we just had a few minor things that we had to do. You know, sometimes part of the year we end up with a lot of housekeeping things that have to be redone every year. The only real housekeeping thing that we did yesterday is the commissioners passed a resolution which ordered the Chaves County assessor to impose the 2022 certified tax rates.
Okay.
So the state finance department sends the tax rates to the county. We don't establish tax rates wherever those are established at the state level.
Right.
But they send us the list, and we go down through that list and assure that all those things are correct.
Okay.
The assessor does that. The treasurer does that. They look into that, make sure everything is like it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And then they let us know, and then we have a very quick turnaround. From the time that we get the letter, we within 5 days have to have a resolution saying that we've actually asked our county to impose those rates. And so they gave us a warning at the beginning of the month. This is coming up. We absolutely have to have it back by the 23rd. You'll receive the letter, and you have to do this within 5 days. So we got our resolution all prepared, like we do every year. Started trying to verify all the tax rates, got all that stuff verified, and then passed the resolution yesterday. So it's in the mail.
That's a lot of legwork, especially to run it all down in 5 days. I mean, they take months to establish the rates and to get all these numbers fixed, and then you got 5 days.
That's not unusual for other organizations to impose their planning on us. But anyway, we made it through there, and I guess it's been going that way for years. It's just a very short turnaround on that particular thing, and so we're always ready for it, and know that that's something we're going to do every September, unless they change the rules.
Right. Well, that's good that we had the pieces in place to make everything happen, to get it done in a succinct time.
Right. Well, I mean, I just got to really hand it to the treasurer and to the assessor, because they have a very short time, and they're the ones doing all the work. All I do is prepare a little resolution and get it in front of the county commissioners, and they review what is presented to them from the treasurer and the assessor, and make their decision. So it's those two that are doing a really good job.
Any big changes in the as far as like tax rates this year from like last year?
No, I don't believe so. I don't review those.
You didn't go line by line?
No, I did not. But to my knowledge, there's no huge changes there. I'm sure some minor changes here and there, but anyway,
but got it done.
It's done, and
there you go. And
we're ready for another year of paying taxes, I guess.
And now you don't have to worry about it until next September, when you have 5 days.
Right.
Exactly 5 days. That's boy, that's pressure. Cool. So we got the housekeeping out of the way.
We did.
Good.
We expected to have a presentation yesterday. New Mexico County was going to present to us the problems that are facing detention facilities in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And it's not only New Mexico; it's nationwide. Sure. But certainly they have all the expertise in what's going on in New Mexico. Unfortunately, they called in the last second and had a problem getting here. So we're going to do that next month. But I would hope that everyone would tune in and listen to the issues that are going on in detention centers. We've already had one detention center close a couple of months ago in Otero County. Mm-hmm. They sent an email out to all the different counties and said, hey, can you house any prisoners? And almost immediately, I think it was Sandoval County responded back, yeah, I've got a few beds. How many you need? 155. Oh. What? And because of staffing issues that are statewide, can't get people to return to work or don't want a job in a lot of cases. And they had to actually close down their facility. A few weeks ago, we heard another county was on the verge of doing it. When they asked us if we could turn over any beds, we said no, because we could be in the same scenario
Yeah.
very soon.
And I mean, it's already it's in a position where inmates are basically on top of each other. You look at some of those pods and the pod setup. It's there's beds, but when there's not beds, folks are just crashing on floors.
Well, Chaves County, we completed a $18 million renovation of our jail just a few years ago. So we greatly increased the capacity of our jail.
Sure.
But because we have minimum staffing levels and we have to make sure that both the inmates and the guards, the detention officers are safe,
Sure.
we had to kind of restrict and bring people back into just a certain portion of the jail.
And there's a requirement of by law of a certain number of inmates have at least one guard on site for that number of inmates.
Yeah,
correct?
there are a lot of very specific laws about
Sure.
the way they have to do things and how often they have to check on inmates and there's a lot of rules that they have to follow and of course that takes manpower to do it.
Absolutely.
Fortunately, I guess I think this is one of those things you could say it's fortunate or it's unfortunate, but with the catch and release that has kind of taken place over the last several years with some changes in laws, we have a whole lot less people than we were having prior to adding on to the jail. So our numbers are well within what would fit into the portion of the jail where they've constricted all the people
Right.
or restricted people into those areas. It's just such a large thing. They would have to have more officers to manage if they utilized every single square foot that we have. But we're very fortunate that the numbers are staying reasonable and that
Good.
we have enough officers to handle what's going on. Officers, the lieutenants, everyone is chipping in though. I mean, everybody's having to do their
It's an all
part
hands on deck situation.
to make those. So if you know anyone that works at detention center, tell them thank you. They're doing a great job and they're putting in the hours to get it done.
Look, I was only here to be a line cook. You guys have me on the front lines. This is wrong. I was supposed to be in the kitchen. You guys have me running the detention center. But yeah, it's all hands on deck, and it's good to know that while we have enough there to get the job done, we're stretched pretty thin.
Yeah, it's tough times in all areas, I guess, but certainly where it requires public safety or affects public safety, we need to be really concerned and how are we going to up those numbers. Sure. Same thing with the sheriff's department. We just and we're doing better currently. The sheriff's department, of course, everything's cyclic. It runs all of a sudden. Oh man, we're going to be fully staffed, and then you lose a couple. So.
That's why you don't say stuff like that. You don't put it out in the ether.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
The second you put it out there in the ether, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
The universe starts paying attention.
But we're very fortunate that we have good law enforcement capabilities, both in detention and with the sheriff's department in Chaves County. They're all working hard and they're stepping up, knowing that they're shorthanded. They still make sure that everything gets done and done properly. So one of the things that we did yesterday that was kind of interesting was we have an agreement between Chaves County and the Roswell / Chaves County Economic Development Company, I believe is their
ECDDCECO or something like that.
EIEIO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that's
AT&T's in there somewhere.
MOUSE, something. But we have an agreement with them to provide professional economic development services, industrial, commercial, business retention, those kind of things.
Sure.
So, and that agreement runs for several years, and then every so often we have to re-up it to make it right. But we just renew it each year. But we have an amendment that we put on it yesterday. Amendment number 3.
Okay.
So amendment number 1 was when we first, I wouldn't say we first began working with them, but we determined that the work that they were doing merited an increase in the amount that we were giving them that year. And so amendment number 1 was to increase the amount of money we gave them. So that was pretty simple. That was several years ago. Amendment number 2 was a few years back. We gave them $25,000 for a specific purpose. And that purpose was to help with the housing needs in Roswell, trying to grow businesses and whatnot.
Sure.
And we're short on houses, just like Hobbs, Artesia, Lovington, all those places are having the same issues keeping up with the housing market.
Right.
And so at the time, they were working with a company that was planning to come in and try to address a portion of that. And they were looking for a little additional money to help with that. So Chaves County Commission agreed to give them an additional $25,000 to be used for a housing project. Well, since then, many things have happened here in Chaves County and in the city of Roswell to improve that situation for housing. As you know, the Oaks and some other things are going on, and hopefully we'll eliminate those issues that we were concerned about 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure.
But because we gave them that money specifically for that purpose, Mike Espiritu, we'll have to ask him how you say his name again when he comes on, came to us and says, that money has been set aside specifically for this purpose. So I need to do one of two things, is either give that back to Chaves County or ask if I can use it for another purpose. And so we passed amendment number 3 to the agreement to allow him to use the funds that we gave him 3 or 4 years ago. He's just been hanging on to them. Sure. He's a very honorable guy. He said, I'm going to use them for this, and had them set aside for that. Decided that that's not as big of an urgent of a need as what he has now. He obtained a grant from Excel to do certified sites, but they need to do an environmental study and they're doing this at the airport.
Right.
Because we're trying to draw in a lot of businesses, support businesses and whatnot for the Ascent Aviation project that the city is working on and counties assisted with. He needed some additional money, some matching funds to make sure that they got this project done. So the county commission listened to what his reasoning was and decided they would go ahead and allow him to take the $25,000 that they gave him 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was 3, and repurpose it exactly, and utilize that for something else. So that was kind of an interesting thing, and it's neat to know how much work they're doing to assure that we bring jobs, we bring good paying jobs to Chaves County and to the city of Roswell. So
good to know, it's good to know that money is really getting put to good use.
Right, and that someone didn't just use it. End of year, let me find something to spend this on.
Some boondoggle to get this on the books. Yeah, of course. So that's actually absolutely an honorable thing. That's awesome to see. And you touched on something there too, and that's the kind of the buildup of the base area of South Roswell. You've really been seeing a lot of that in the last 3-4 years, and it's really it's heartening to see. It's nice to know that the south end of Roswell and the Chaves County area is actually kind of getting a little attention.
Yeah, and the plans for what's going on out at the Roswell Air Center, those are some good paying jobs. And in fact, the economic development from Santa Fe is assisting. If they reach so many jobs and they're over a certain threshold and all, they get some lease abatements and stuff that incentivize them paying a lot of people and paying for new jobs. And we need that, certainly.
Absolutely. Bolstering the economy.
So that's good. I know we're in a hurry today, so I'm trying to stay on task. And so if you need more information, just let me know.
Sure, no worries.
We accepted we didn't accept a cooperative agreement between Chaves County Flood Control and the USDA and NRCS. Chaves County Flood Control is not exactly part of Chaves County. They are and they aren't. They have their own taxing mechanism. They're allowed to be in existence, not because of the county, but because the state has allowed them to do that. They have their own commissioner that has nothing to do with Chaves County Commission, except that we communicate. They have their own people. But what Chaves County does for the Chaves County Flood Commission is we provide all those services that they don't need to hire. So they won't need to hire someone to do their payroll, for instance. They don't have to hire someone for procurement.
Gotcha.
So they're a quasi Chaves County
like a
department. However, they're autonomous. They're separate from us. They make their own decisions.
Like an alien agency, so to speak.
Yeah, that's it. And what we do for them, though, is, like I say, we provide the HR. So that every time they need to hire someone, they don't have to hire someone themselves, so they can hire someone. So it keeps their budgets down, so they can focus on the things that they do, which of course is flood control.
Right.
But they got a grant for $780,000 from U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, or something, I believe, is what NRCS stands for. Okay. So they got a grant for that, and their superintendent, Dick Smith, signed for that grant, which is all good. We thought that we might need to approve because of the funds, but our legal department says, no, we don't really need to do it that way. But they agreed with me that it's a good idea that the commission knew, because their money is in a separate account, but it's monitored by Chaves County Financial
It would be interesting
Department.
to see a big dip all of a sudden after like a year if nobody checked. So
Yeah.
it's good to know that there's
So-
a series of checks and balances in place.
So our finance department, they monitor all that stuff, and of course they're accountable for all that. So we want to make sure that the commissioners know that they are getting not only getting a grant for $780,000, but there's a matching portion to that grant for $195,000. So $195,000 of flood control's budget will eventually be going out to cover their cost on it. So, that's a chunk of money. So we want to be sure that the commissioners are aware, because it's in our oversight. So,
Absolutely.
So we took care of that yesterday. We also, this is kind of an exciting one. I should have led with this. And I've told Mike a couple times. A couple of years ago, we had a planning and zoning case where someone came in and wanted to put in a concrete plant out on Brasher Road. And everything was going along good. We had the public hearing for that, and the neighbors came out kind of in force and said, here's the problems we have with that. And they made us aware of some issues out there. Subsequently, the person that wanted to put in the concrete plant went and talked to all the neighbors, got some things ironed out. The neighbors said, okay, yeah, we're good with it then. But during that process, they let the county know, and we weren't really aware of it, that the bridge on Brasher Road was kind of dangerous.
Okay.
And it's not that the bridge is falling down or anything. It did need some repairs. We get a report every year on all of the bridges in Chaves County, and probably all of them need a minor repair or something, but nothing. They won't allow us to leave it open if it's going to cave in, obviously.
Right.
But so anyway, it needed a couple minor repairs, but that wasn't a big deal. But what's bad about that bridge is it's so high above grade. So you're driving along, the bridge has no shoulders on it, I guess.
It's very narrow.
It's just 2 lanes. So first thing you do is you go from a road that's got a little bit of extra width and some elbow room there, and you get to this bridge, and so people tend to veer to the center of the road, and they can't see over it because the bridge is kind of high, and as they rise up over the hill, it's not uncommon for them to meet a garbage truck.
Sure.
And now a cement truck.
And those are wide trucks.
Yes.
They cast a wide berth.
Who has also kind of moved towards the center of the road because it's a narrow bridge. And so we weren't really aware of the situation on the day-to-day traffic, and the neighbors all told us about it. So as soon as we found out about it, we put it on our infrastructure capital improvement plan. So we've got to replace this bridge. We were not aware, and thank goodness the public came in and let us know. And
I drive a subcompact, and even on that bridge, I still kind of squeeze in.
you still pull your elbows
Get small.
in. Yeah. Your windows roll down, you pull your arm in.
Yep.
And so anyway, we aggressively pursued funding for that. And because we made such a good case based on what the neighbors had all told us, we made a great case. We presented that for legislative capital outlay, and we're funded 100% for what the project was projected to cost. So we're very excited about that. Absolutely. And then along came the governor's veto. So Governor Martinez said, nope, I'm not going to fund that particular thing. So we lost out, but we didn't quit. We continued to ask for money for that. Last year, our legislators gave us $500,000 for it, which is good because the price of a bridge this has been a very short term. I think it's 3 years, maybe 4 at the most, since the people let us know about it. Well, the price of a bridge is well over $1 million now. And so that amount that they gave us is great and very much appreciated. And we had updated our numbers, but we got a good amount to start.
Sure.
In the meantime, we continued to pursue other avenues to get funding. And Joe West, who's our road department director, put in for a grant from the New Mexico DOT for TPF funding, which is Transportation Project Fund, I believe. And he put in for $1.2 million, 1.25 to build this bridge. Did a great job, did a great presentation, and we were fortunate enough to obtain those funds. So we have the money to build the bridge. Excellent. So it's currently, we're working on getting the design done and figure out what is going to be the best bridge there, and then we'll, as quickly as we can, build and replace that bridge.
Because that's an action alley. It's one of those that's got to be done quick.
Yes, it does. And the city uses that. It's right on the way to the landfill. The concrete trucks use it. The neighbors out there, of course, they brought it to our attention that, hey, this is a serious thing, and they were absolutely right. And so we're very happy that Joe and his team put together that request for the TPF funding, and we're successful in getting it. So we hope now that we can fairly quickly get a bridge out there. But we're very, very happy that that the people came to us and told us what was going on, because that's what's supposed to happen. Is you let us know, we react, we do what's right, and we correct problems. And
sometimes the government works.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that all the time. But in this particular case, it certainly worked that way.
Awesome.
So
very cool.
A couple other things real quick. We approved permission to purchase a Class A pumper for the East Grand Plains Volunteer Fire Department. So,
awesome.
They got their quotes and their bids, and all those have to go through the state fire marshal. They have to assure that each truck, depending on what it's designed for, meets all the criteria for fires for their office. You know, they make sure it's all going to work. It's quite a process. East Grand Plains Fire Department always does a great job.
Yes, they do.
And helped us to figure out how to do a replacement schedule many years ago. So we replace fire trucks every year. Someone turns up on the list, and East Grand Plains was on the list. They had all their ducks in a row, got their specifications to state fire marshal. We got it all approved, and then we forwarded it through the county commission so that they were aware of it and wanted to do it. Fire trucks are cool, but man, they ain't cheap. And it takes a long time to build them.
Yeah,
you know,
they're certainly tools. It takes a lot of manpower to make them happen.
Yeah, and it's possible this might take as long as 2 years to get the fire truck built.
Oh, wow.
We're hopeful it'll be a little shorter than that, but my goodness, that's really something. We had a request for out-of-state travel. We presented the DFA approved our fiscal year 22-23 final budget, and that was just a informational thing. Just to make sure. By statute, they're required to make sure that the commission is aware that the final budget was passed, but no documents or anything went with that. So anyway, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what happened at the meeting yesterday. There are a few other little things, but I know we're in a hurry, so I'm trying to
rapid fire them. But very good. So it sounds like a lot of good resolution came out last night. A lot of decisions. So absolutely. So if folks want more information about maybe specifics about last night's meeting or anything going on with the county, how do they reach out?
Well, it's recorded and it's on Facebook.
Okay.
So they can watch the thing in its entirety at their leisure. If you wake up at 2 a.m. and want to go back to sleep, you can watch the county commission meeting on Facebook. You can do that. You know, we have records and record what the meeting, what transpired. You know, we do a report every month, so you can get copies of that if you needed to. But anyway, we invite people out. It's 9:00 in the morning, the third Thursday of the month usually, although next month it's going to be the fourth Thursday of the month. We had to reschedule that one. So
so the fourth Thursday next month, 9 a.m. Come on out and be a part of the discourse.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I appreciate all you do, and you know, thank you for stepping up and filling the shoes that Mike left vacant.
Somebody's got to do it. They're tiny shoes, but somebody's got to fill them. 39 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's pause and get you up to date with some local news.
Now for a Pecos Valley News.